When Maxim and Andre opened the lid of the old well, they saw a staircase that led down into the darkness. The stairs were made of stone, covered with moss and mold, and led somewhere far down. Maxim was the first to venture down, taking the flashlight and the book they had found earlier. Andre followed him, glancing nervously at the darkening doorway above them. Each step down the stairs echoed in the silence, making it feel like they weren't alone. Finally, they reached the bottom and found themselves in a huge stone hall. The walls were covered with ancient runes and symbols, the light from the flashlight reflecting off the damp surface, creating strange reflections. In the center of the hall stood a massive stone table. On it lay a book, open to a page covered in ancient symbols. Maxim stepped closer, illuminating the table, while Andre kept his distance, looking around. A shadow in the far corner of the hall caught his attention. It was motionless, but it looked too dense to be a play of light. A creaking sound interrupted their musings. A figure emerged from the darkness, a woman in an ancient dress. Her face was pale and her eyes burned with a dim light. She spoke to them, her voice echoing through the hall.
Why have you come here? This place is cursed. Leave before it's too late.
Andre and Maxim stood there, not knowing what to say. Suddenly her appearance began to dissolve into thin air, leaving only a faint glow. Deciding not to stay in the hall, they headed for the corridor, which branched into two parts. Maxim chose the left passage, and Andre the right. Their paths diverged, and each found himself in his own trap. Maxim moved along the narrow passage, the walls of which were covered with scratched symbols. His name was repeated on the stone on either side, as if someone or something had foretold his arrival. The light of the flashlight trembled in his hand. Suddenly he heard footsteps behind him and turned around, but saw no one. The footsteps grew louder and louder. Suddenly a creature with long claws and glowing eyes emerged from the shadows. Maxim managed to hide around the corner, clutching his book tightly to him. Taking advantage of the moment, he began to quickly flip through the pages, looking for salvation. In the book he found a ritual that could destroy evil, but it required a sacrifice. At one point, the creature attacked, and Maxim barely escaped in time. Reaching the massive door, he closed it, holding the enemy on the other side. He began reciting spells from the book. The light in the room intensified, temporarily weakening the creature. Maxim found a candle, and the wax began dripping onto the symbols, activating the magic. But the creature broke through. It grabbed Maxim's leg and dragged him toward the stone. Maxim struggled to reach the book, continuing to read the spell until the magic weakened the monster completely. Meanwhile, Andre was running, desperately trying to get away from the Guardian. His breathing was hitching and his legs were struggling to keep up. In his panic, he suddenly noticed a massive stone coffin in one of the side rooms. The lid of the coffin was covered with the same ancient symbols he had seen on the walls of the corridor. Before he could examine them, however, the coffin began to slowly open. Andre froze. A figure rose from the coffin, a tall man with sharp facial features, dressed in an ancient, ornate cloak. It was the ancient lord, whose cold, glowing eyes met Andre's instantly.
"How dare you disturb me?"
Came the lord's low, rumbling voice, which made the walls tremble. Andre pivoted backward, but a sudden growl made him turn his head. The Guardian was getting closer, and now he was caught between two deadly threats. Desperately trying to figure out how to get out, Andre noticed a vial of reddish liquid among the artifacts on the wall. Engraved on it were the words, "Destroys demons." As the guardian approached, Andre grabbed the vial without thinking and threw it at the creature. There was a loud explosion, and the creature vaporized, leaving behind only a plume of smoke. The Lord watched this with cold interest before speaking again.
You think you can defeat me?
Andre felt a shiver run through his entire body, but gathering all his courage, he rushed back towards the corridor, hoping to find a way out, or at least his friend Maxim. Andre found a way out, which brought him back to the main hall. At that time Maxim, exhausted, came out of his unit. They met in the center, but the joy was short-lived. The building began to collapse. The ground beneath their feet was cracking, revealing chasms into the abyss. They ran towards the light that could be seen from the well. With each step, the ground became less and less stable, but with a final effort, they made it out. Breathing a full breath, they realized that they were still alive, but forever changed. From behind them came the final rumble of destruction, and the entrance to the dungeon collapsed, burying the ancient secrets forever.